My stepmom sold my dad's house the day he died. Then the secret trust activated. The funeral cars were still in the driveway when I heard the sound of a drill. I walked up the steps of the house I grew up in, still wearing my black suit, tears still fresh on my face. My father had been buried only 2 hours ago. I tried to put my key in the front door. It wouldn't turn. The door opened. Standing there was Linda, my stepmother. She was 20 years younger than my father, and she wasn't wearing black. She was wearing a bright red dress, holding a glass of champagne. Behind her was a locksmith. "What are you doing, Linda?" I asked. "I need to get my things." "You don't live here anymore, Ben," she smiled, taking a sip of her drink. "Your father didn't leave a will. That means, under state law, the surviving spouse gets everything. The house, the cars, the bank accounts, it's all mine. You have 10 minutes to grab your clothes. Anything left behind goes to the estate sale tomorrow." She slammed the door in my face. I stood there, broken. I had lost my father, my home, and my inheritance in a single afternoon. Linda thought she had won. She thought my father was a senile old man who forgot to sign a piece of paper. But she was wrong. My father wasn't forgetful. He was paranoid. He knew exactly who Linda was, and he had prepared a trap. Linda didn't know that by changing the locks and listing the house for sale so quickly, she just triggered a legal mechanism known as a dead man's switch. She thought she inherited a fortune. Instead, she just activated her own destruction. Here is the story of how my father played 4D chess from the grave. My father, Arthur, was a brilliant man. He made his fortune in the 90s by patenting a specific type of hydraulic valve used in heavy machinery. He wasn't flashy. He drove a 10-year-old Ford truck and wore flannel shirts. But his bank account was heavy. After my mom passed away from cancer 10 years ago, Dad was lonely. That is when Linda appeared. She was a waitress at the diner he went to every morning. She was beautiful, charming, and very good at pretending to care about hydraulic valves. I warned him. I told him, "Dad, she is buying new designer bags every week with your credit card. She pushes you to rewrite your life insurance." Dad would just sigh. "Then I know she likes money, but I'm old. I just want someone to cook dinner and sit with me." Or so I thought. 6 months ago, Dad's health declined rapidly. It was heart failure. During his final weeks, I was the one sleeping in the hospital chair. I was the one feeding him ice chips. Linda? She was too busy planning renovations for the house. She was already picking out new curtains while he was taking his last breaths. One night, about 3 days before he died, Dad woke up. He was lucid. He grabbed my hand with a surprising amount of strength. "Ben," he whispered, "listen to me closely. When I go, Linda is going to turn on you. She thinks I'm stupid. She thinks I never signed a will." "Did you sign one?" I asked. "Better," he smiled weakly. "I created a trust, but it's a silent trust. Nobody knows it exists except me and a lawyer in Switzerland. It has a trigger clause. If Linda tries to keep the house, she gets a stipend, but if she tries to sell the house, the trap activates." "What do I do?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "Let her do it. Let her greed consume her. Just keep your phone on." He died 3 days later, and true to his prediction, Linda didn't waste a second. Back to the day of the funeral. After Linda locked me out, I sat in my car down the street. I watched as the locksmith finished his job. Then I watched a real estate agent place a "coming soon" sign on the lawn. She wasn't even waiting for the body to get cold. I checked into a cheap motel. I had about $2,000 in my savings account. Linda had access to all of Dad's joint accounts, which held millions. I was essentially homeless. I remembered Dad's words, "Let her do it." For the next 2 weeks, I watched from a distance. Linda moved fast. She held an estate sale and sold off Dad's antique clock collection, his tools, even his old Ford truck. She wanted cash, and she wanted it now. Then the big listing went live on Zillow. For sale, luxury estate, 4 bedrooms, 5 acres, price $2.5 million. She priced it low for a quick sale. The market was hot. Within 3 days, the listing status changed to pending. She had found a buyer, an all-cash buyer. I was sitting in my motel room eating instant noodles when my phone rang. It was an unknown number with a Switzerland country code, +41. My heart skipped a beat. "Hello?" I answered. "Is this Benjamin Miller?" a crisp, professional voice asked. "Yes. This is Heinrich from Zurich Legal Partners. I am the executor of your father's blind trust. We received a digital notification from the county clerk's office this morning. It appears a notice of sale has been filed for the property at 42 Oak Lane. Is this correct?" "Yes," I said. "My stepmother is selling it. They close the deal tomorrow." "Excellent," Heinrich said. His voice sounded surprisingly cheerful. "She has fallen into the trap. The sale of the primary residence is the trigger event detailed in Clause 7B of the trust. We can now proceed." "Proceed with what?" I asked. "With the eviction of Miss Linda," Heinrich said. "You see, Ben, your father did not own that house personally. He transferred the deed into the trust 5 years ago. He just never recorded the transfer publicly to keep Linda in the dark. Legally, she is trying to sell a property she does not own, and by attempting to sell it, she has violated the good faith clause of her prenuptial agreement. So what happens now? Now, Heinrich said, we crash the closing meeting. Meet me at the title company office tomorrow at 10 a.m. and wear a suit." The next morning, I arrived at the title company. Linda was already there, sitting in the conference room with the buyers, a wealthy couple looking to flip the house. Linda looked triumphant. She was about to sign a piece of paper that would wire $2.5 million into her personal account. She saw me walk in and rolled her eyes. "Security!" she yelled. "Get him out of here! He's just a disgruntled stepson!" "He is with me," a voice boomed from the doorway. Heinrich walked in. He looked like a Bond villain, tall, silver hair, expensive Swiss suit. He carried a leather briefcase. "Who are you?" demanded Linda. "This is a private closing." "My name is Heinrich. I represent the Arthur Miller Irrevocable Trust," he said, placing the briefcase on the table, "and I am afraid there will be no sale today." Linda laughed nervously. "Trust? There is no trust. Arthur didn't leave a will. I am the administrator of the estate. I have the court papers right here." "You are the administrator of his personal estate," Heinrich corrected her. "But the house doesn't belong to his personal estate. It belongs to the trust." He opened his briefcase and pulled out a document. It was a deed of trust, signed and notarized 5 years ago. "Arthur transferred ownership of the property to the trust years ago," he explained to the shocked buyers. "He retained a life estate, meaning he could live there until he died. Upon his death, the property was supposed to pass to his wife for her use, unless—" "Unless what?" the buyer asked, looking annoyed. "Unless she attempts to sell the property." Heinrich read from the document. Clause 7B states, "If the beneficiary, Linda, attempts to liquidate, mortgage, or sell the primary residence, her interest in the trust is immediately terminated, and the assets transfer fully to the secondary beneficiary, Benjamin Miller." The room went silent. Linda's face turned pale white. The glass of water in her hand shook. "That's fake!" she screamed. "He never told me about this." "Because he knew you would do exactly this. He knew you would sell the house the moment he was gone. He wanted to test you, Linda. If you had just lived in the house, if you had just grieved him, you could have stayed there for free for the rest of your life. The trust provided a monthly allowance of $5,000 for maintenance. Did you know that?" "5,000?" she whispered. "Yes," Heinrich nodded.
but the clause is specific. The allowance is void if an intent to sell is filed. By listing the house, you not only lost the house, you lost the monthly income. You get nothing." The buyer stood up. "We're done here," the husband said. "We don't buy properties with clouded titles. Good luck." They walked out. Linda turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of sadness, but tears of pure rage and financial ruin. "You can't do this to me. I have debts. I put a deposit on a condo. I need this money." "You should have thought about that before you changed the locks on the day of his funeral," I said. Heinrich handed her a formal letter. "This is a notice to vacate. Since you are no longer a beneficiary, you are trespassing. You have 48 hours to remove your personal belongings. The locks will be changed on Friday."
But the nightmare for Linda wasn't over. Heinrich wasn't just there to save the house. He was there to audit the accounts. "One more thing, Miss Linda," Heinrich said, opening a second folder. "The trust also holds the intellectual property rights to Arthur's patents. The royalties from those patents flow into the main bank account." "So?" Linda snapped. "The bank account is joint. I have survivorship rights." "Correct," Heinrich said. "However, you spent $40,000 from that account after his date of death to pay off your personal credit cards, and you sold his antique clocks and truck for cash last week." "I needed money for the funeral," she lied. "The trust paid for the funeral directly," Heinrich countered smoothly. "We have the invoices. What you did is called conversion of assets. It is theft. Since you are no longer a beneficiary, the trust is suing you for the return of all sold items and the unauthorized cash withdrawals." "I spent it," she cried. "It's gone." "Then we will place a lien on your future income," Heinrich said coldly, "and we will report the theft to the local district attorney. Unless—" "Unless what?" she sobbed. "Unless you sign this." Heinrich slid a quitclaim deed across the table. "This document waives any and all future claims to Arthur's estate. You walk away with your clothes and your car. We won't press charges, and you return the cash from the truck sale." It was brutal. It was total defeat. Linda looked at the paper. She looked at me. She picked up the pen with a shaking hand and signed. She left the office broken. She had gambled everything on a quick sale and lost it all. 2 days later, I walked back up the steps of my childhood home. This time, my key worked. Heinrich had already had the locks changed back. The house was quiet. It felt empty without Dad, but it felt safe. I walked into his study. Linda had already stripped the curtains and sold the rug, but his desk was still there. On the desk was a letter addressed to me. Heinrich had left it there. I opened it. It was in Dad's handwriting. "Ben, if you are reading this, it means Linda tried to sell the house. I'm sorry I had to put you through that. I knew she didn't love me, but I didn't want to die alone. It was a selfish choice, and I hope you forgive me. The house is yours. The patent royalties are yours. But don't become like her. Money is a tool, not a god. Use it to build something. And please, fix the porch step. It's been loose for years. Love, Dad." I sat in his chair and cried. Not tears of sadness this time, but tears of relief. I didn't sell the house. I renovated it. I used the patent royalties to start my own engineering firm. As for Linda, I heard she moved back in with her sister in another state. She is back to waitressing. Sometimes I wonder if she tells her customers about the time she was almost a millionaire. My father taught me everything I know about engineering, but in his death, he taught me the most important lesson about law and human nature. Greed makes people blind, and if you know your enemy is blind, you don't need to fight them. You just need to dig a hole and wait for them to fall in. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story of justice from beyond the grave, please like and subscribe. And remember, always read the fine print.